right, good evening, sisters, brothers, siblings. Thank you for joining us for the third of our 4 installments of the candidate forums. For those who don't know me, my name is Nicole Britta. I will have the pleasure of serving as the moderator for this evening's candidate forum, which is for our International Executive Board Member at Large candidates. We'll give it just a minute to make sure everyone has an opportunity to make it in from the waiting room. And a few reminders while we're doing that. As you all can hopefully see, this webinar is being recorded. It will be made available on the convention landing page in the coming weeks. Given the fact that we have 3 candidates here with us tonight, we will make sure that this forum lasts no longer than an hour to be respectful of our candidates and our attendees' time. Same ground rules for those of you. I see a few familiar names in the attendees, but for those of you who've been here, each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to make some opening remarks. They will then receive a series of questions, and I will alternate who gets the opportunity to answer the questions first. These questions have not been provided to the candidates ahead of time, so there'll be questions they're hearing for the first time tonight, hopefully things they've been thinking about. And then we will, time permitting, take some questions from our attendees. And then once we're getting close to the hour time, we will give each of our candidates up to 3 minutes to make their concluding remarks. If any candidate exceeds any of those time constraints I just described, I will kindly and fraternally remind them that they have exceeded their time, and we will go on to the next question or the next response. So I think that's all the ground rules. And then, like I said, we'll get started here in just a moment. I just want to take one final look at the attendee numbers. Looks like they've been about the same for the past minute and a half that I've been talking. So let's get right to it then. So for opening remarks, we are going to start with Brother Jessica. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam IJ. My name is Jessica Zakin-Siglitz. I use brother as my fraternity title, and I have been slated and I am running for the at-large position A. I joined Phi Alpha Delta in 2010 as a 1L, and I maintain that that's probably the smartest thing I've ever done in my life because I don't think I would have graduated from law school if I did not do that. I am a proud first-generation attorney, and my family were very proud of me, but they were able to provide absolutely no practical help whatsoever. I have been very involved in PAD since I joined in 2010. I'm a former executive office staff member. I was a member service consultant in 2014. I've been the assistant district justice for District 6 since 2016, and I've been also the assistant district justice for District 10 since 2021. I have served on the Strategic Planning Committee, the Long-Term Planning Committee, and I'm currently the Vice Chair of the History Committee. And I've received 3 fraternity awards that I'm very proud of. I won the Enid Williams Ross Outstanding Marshall Award in 2015 and the William K. Robertson Outstanding Alumni Clerk Award in 2018 and 2019. As part of my candidacy, I have 2 overarching goals for the next biennium. I was a proud member of the Strategic Planning Committee that put together the Strategic Planning Report that was approved at the summer board meeting last year. And my hope is that while I'm on the board, I will be able to be a voice for that report and make sure that we follow the recommendations and really do all of the outreach and focus groups and grassroots outreach that we're hoping to do as part of the report to get a pulse on the idea of where the fraternity is and where we want to go. I think it's the best way for us to identify our strengths, weaknesses, challenges, and opportunities going forward. I would also like to expand mentorship opportunities to encourage all types of first-generation members like myself, and that can be people who are distinct by race, religion, class, location, urban, rural divide, socioeconomic levels, because PAD made a huge difference for me as a first-generation attorney, and I believe it's the only organization that really can help you as a first-generation attorney, put you on the same level as people who have an advantage of coming from a family of attorneys. And I look forward to speaking with all of you tonight.
Thank you, brother. All right, we are next going to go to Brother Bobby. Your 2 minutes for your opening remarks.
Thank you, Madam IJ. Good evening, everyone. Jessica, you're a tough act to follow now. That was pretty good. My name is Bobby Ficklin. I am an attorney in Michigan. I'm born and raised in Macon, Georgia. I have been a Phi Alpha Delta member since 2010 and pretty much been active in the fraternity from day one. Actually, prior to that, I was a pre-law chapter president when I was an undergrad. And when I was initiated in 2010, a week later, I was voted as the marshal in my chapter, Humphrey chapter. Michigan State University College of Law. Also, I've been the district justice for District 12 for almost 12 years. I started in the fall of 2012. So this is my 12th year as a DJ. And I have been the runner-up for Outstanding DJ. I have our District 1 in 2023. We were finalists for Most Improved District. I also was a gold program mentor for the inaugural class, which was 2022, 2023. And still very close with my mentee. And I have judged the law school mock trial competition for the last 3 years, and I judged the final round the last 2 years with International Justice Greta. And that's one of my favorite things to do. I also just participated last month in Pad Day at the Supreme Court, which was amazing, something life-changing I'll never forget. And it just goes to show the many benefits of Phi Alpha Delta. I always tell students, I've received more benefits as an alum than I did as a student. And going to convention, really seeing the infrastructure of the fraternity from the inside out. Back in 2010, when I was a student and I was on the nominations committee, it really got me stirred up even more about Phi Alpha Delta, and knowing that I had a voice as a student and then continuing that voice as an alumni member. And I just think it's time for me to take it to the next level. I've been a DJ for 12 years.
Thank
And
you. Thank you, brother. That's your time.
oh, thank you.
Sure, we'll get to hear more in response to questions. Brother Dwayne, your time for your opening remarks.
Hi, my name is Dwayne Close. I am also running for one of the International Executive Board at-large member positions. I am a first-year attorney. I went to law school after I retired from the Navy. One of the things I like to do, when I introduce myself, people like to say they took a couple of gap years between going college and going to law school. I say I took a couple of gap decades. 20 years of naval service. I retired as a commander, 05 in the Navy, lieutenant colonel for you Army, Air Force, Marine Corps types. Got the opportunity to serve in a lot of leadership positions while I was in the service. And that kind of translated to what I saw with Phi Alpha Delta. When I started law school after, my naval career was over, I was very judicious about what I wanted to do. And Phi Alpha Delta was the first organization and originally was the only organization I was planning on joining. But once I became a member, started seeing all the benefits that are there with that, I became more and more involved. I went on to become our chapter clerk for the George Washington chapter at Regent University School of Law and went to convention in 2022. That was a very great opportunity for me to get involved. I was one of our delegates for our chapter. I also put myself out there as a volunteer, and it became more a part of the organization itself. For the last 2 years, I've been the secretary for the DEIAC, the advisory committee for that, and I've been able to see the way and help shape the way that we want to approach DEIAC for our community at large. And I see this as a great opportunity as an extension of that. I'm very humbled and very honored to be part of this organization. I'm going to try to keep my words brief because I have been dealing with hiccups.
I will say that for the benefit of the folks. I don't think the brothers assembled will mind. Brother Dwayne is struggling with some hiccups. So if he takes a breath, that's why. But thank you all for your opening remarks. Let's get right into the questions. I'm going to come, Brother Bobby, to you first. First question is, why did you decide to run for a position on the International Executive Board? And why did you choose the at-large position specifically?
Thank you. I decided to run. It's something I've thought about for several years and have been encouraged to do for several years, but I had to make sure the timing was right for me. I do feel that having been a DJ for 12 years, I feel like I have kind of maximized that opportunity of being a DJ, which has been great. And I love doing it. And I will still be closely connected to the students no matter what. But I do feel that, being a member of the fraternity for 14 years now, I have a good enough bearing of the fraternal structure and infrastructure to see how it works, and also to add what I feel I can bring as a leader to the board. I do feel that, diversity is also important to me. I feel like we have to representation matters, and I feel like we have to reflect. Our board needs to reflect our constituency and our brothers, sisters, and siblings. And we have a diverse organization. We have a diverse fraternity. And I like to be a part of having that diversity on the international board as well and expanding that diversity. So that was pretty much why I decided to run at this point now. Was that answering both questions?
I think you did.
Okay.
Thank you.
I tried to combine it together. Okay. Thank you.
That's great. Brother Dwayne, same question. I can repeat it if you need me to.
Please do.
Yes. So why did you decide to run for a position on the International Executive Board, and why did you select the at-large position?
So as far as why I chose to run, it was really the influence that I had from my other DEIAC members, whether that was the CDA Pega Yazidi Gorman, or Jonalyn Blunt, who's on the board, or Connie, or really Faiza. The folks that I worked with on that board were excellent resources, and really allowed me to have a voice, even though, for the first year of being on that council, I was still a law student. Technically, again, not a young person, but still a law student. So just being able to have that voice, being able to share my thoughts and my previous experiences in my past life, because I have done similar things to DEIAC before, being able to share that and just feeling empowered by them made me want to run for the International Executive Board. Why I chose for the at-large position is largely because, I'm still a newcomer. I've been an attorney for a year now, studying for the bar, going through all this stuff while on the council was very much a lot of hard work and entertaining. But as being relatively new to the fraternity, I didn't want to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go run for IJ. Just didn't think that would be the right move to try to jump over everybody else that has been, like Brother Bobby, who's been a DJ for 12 years now. So I just felt it was the best opportunity for me to be able to come and serve the community on the IEB as an at-large position.
Thank you, brother. Brother Jess, same question, and again, can repeat if you need me to.
If you could repeat it, please, Madam IJ.
Absolutely. Why did you decide to run for a position on the International Executive Board, and why did you choose the at-large position?
So I chose to run, I can answer that in 2 words. I'm going to sound like a broken record, but the strategic plan. I was on the committee that put the plan together. It was probably one of the most positive PAT experiences I've ever had. It was a great group of people, and I really want to make sure that that is seen through to its conclusion and to fruition, because I think it's a really wonderful opportunity for us to really go out at the grassroots level and see where everybody is. And I picked the at-large position because it doesn't have any sort of pre-designated responsibilities. Just my understanding is you kind of get to pick your own thing, and then I can just say, can I be the board member that's in charge of the strategic plan? It's also, I think, the best introductory level. I've never been on the board before, and I don't have the benefit of having been a DJ like Brother Bobby, and I think it's just going to be the best stepping stone and the best place for me.
Thank you, brother. So I've all talked about in one way, shape, or form prior leadership experience that you have. I want to talk with you about your leadership style. So first part of this question is to describe your leadership style. And the second part is, how does that make you a good candidate to be a board member at large? And so for this question, we'll start with Brother Dwayne, and then we'll go to Brother Jess, and then conclude with Brother Bobby.
So leadership style. Well, I got to experience a whole lot of different types of leaders in the military. And one of the things that I learned is that I don't like micromanagers. So I try to empower those that are, working under me to make good decisions. I try to give clear guidance of what it is that I expect and then let them go. You guys have probably all heard the euphemism, give them enough rope to hang themselves with. Well, I don't like to try let anybody kind of hang out and dangle there. Try to give them enough guidance to what they know and then empower them. Hey, if you got questions, come back and ask me. I don't want anybody sitting there wondering or wondering what exactly it is that I want them to do or play I've got a secret. Well, you can figure that out. I want you to know exactly what I'm thinking. I don't play that way. I would rather make sure that people get that clear guidance from the beginning, make sure that they know exactly what the expectations are, and then empower them to come back to me if they have any questions.
Thank you, brother. Brother Jess, same question. Let me know if you need me to repeat it.
This one I remembered. This is going to sound a little weird, but my leadership style is that of Kermit the Frog on The Muppet Show. I believe in encouraging everyone to be their full, authentic selves and to be able to come to me with whatever idea they have. I'm going to listen. I'm going to give you the space to be yourself, and I'm going to support you in being your full self, even if you say what the show needs is dancing cheese. The other piece of that is that I think a lot of leadership in these positions is you're sort of managing chaos and you're juggling all of these different potential emergencies that are going on at the same time. And I like to think that I can pull us through those emergencies, still put the show on, still get everything done, but at the same time, keep everybody in a position where they're supported and they're empowered and they feel that they can come to me with anything and they don't have to worry about judgment or being dismissed in any way, shape, or form. It's all about supporting people, getting them where they need to go, but at the same time, making sure things get done.
Thank you, brother. And brother Bobby, same question to you. Tell us about your leadership style and how does it make you a good candidate to be an at-large member of the International Executive Board?
Thank you. First, my leadership style is to be a listener. I like to be an active listener. I'm big on communication, and I'm also a team player. And I feel like those things have helped serve me and throughout life. I mean, my first line of leadership, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I have 5 children. So just managing all of that is it can be challenging, but I take pride in being able to do that as well as run a practice. I've served as part-time magistrate in my county. So I like to listen to everything and then I can make a decision. I'm very decisive, but I do want to make sure everyone feels heard and everyone feels like they have a voice and we're all equal at the table. Everyone has a role to play. And I feel like you need to incorporate everyone's gifts and talents. They're there for a reason. So I feel like as a team member, I always play sports. I play football, basketball, and baseball, football all the way to college. And I know as a team player, you have to know the strengths and weaknesses of those around you, and you work and capitalize on those. So for me, my leadership style is to make sure I get the most out of everyone because we're all called to serve and we're all here for a purpose. So I want to maximize whatever that purpose is on the team.
Thank you, brother. All right. So next question. You all have kind of, again, touched on a little bit, but I'd like for you to expand for those listening live and who may watch this later. But in your opinion, what is the role of an international board member at large? And Jess, we're going to come to you first for this question.
Thank you, Madam IJ. I think that at large, you're kind of a jack of all trades. You're a gap filler. You go where the need is, which is always how I've described my work ethic. I sort of go where my skills fit me the best. I think it's also you're in the best position to really be able to go out and listen to our membership and see where everybody is. If anyone has a concern or anyone has anything they want to raise with you, I think you're probably going to be the most approachable and the one who's in the best position to bring that to the board's attention.
Thank you, brother. Brother Bobby, and come to you next on this one. What is your view of the role that the at-large, a board member at large serves on the IEB?
I kind of echo the same thing Jessica said, honestly. I feel like to me, it's almost like a step above DJ. Not that it's more important, but just a step more of a liaison between the board and the students and also the DJs as well. For me, it's an introductory position to the board to kind of see, how it works, from the inside out. Now that you're a part of the board, if you're an international board member, and like Jessica said, you kind of fill in where need be. You don't have necessarily a defined role as far as, treasurer, secretary, or those types of things, but you get to kind of learn every position and see, how it works and see who you can support at what time on the team. So that's kind of my personal opinion.
Thank you, brother. And Brother Dwayne, we'll round out this question with your thoughts.
Thank you, Madam IJ. I really want to echo the same thing that my two colleagues have said. It seems like we are more the voice of the different chapters that are out there. And, we are the conduits and the worker bees, if you will, for the International Executive Board, participate in the different advisory councils or the strategic committees that are assigned to us, and just provide kind of the legwork into those committees and whatnot, and just really trying to, as has been stated, communicate and listen to what the members have to say and share that back with the board.
Thank you, brother. So I think you have all talked about a position that you currently have or positions that you've previously held within Phi Alpha Delta as a whole. But I want to ask you a very pointed question about your past leadership in PAD. And that is, if you could only pick one of the positions in which you have served as a leader in Phi Alpha Delta, which one do you believe has best prepared you to join the International Executive Board? And for this question, we'll come to Bobby first.
If I can only pick one, I would definitely say DJ, because for me, that's the one I've been the most. I've been a member of Phi Alpha Delta for 14 years, and 12 of those 14, I was a DJ. And going into it, I was, thank God for brother BJ Maley, because I was very fresh out of law school and my chapter asked me to do it. The students kind of asked me to be a DJ because we didn't have one at the time. And I wasn't sure I could do it. And I was very nervous about it. And it really helped me to step up my leadership game, in respect to the fraternity. It really helped me step up my leadership role in the fraternity. I had not planned on, going for that position. I had never even considered it because I didn't know we didn't have a DJ anymore. And it was my first year out of law school, so I really was, focused on my career. But at the same time, I've always been an advocate for students. I've always feel like I've been called to serve, no matter what I'm doing in my life. I'm always in a position of service, and I feel like that was my way to serve the fraternity. They needed me, and I chose to step up. And it has been very rewarding. I mean, literally today, I got an invitation to a wedding for one of my students that graduated last year from law school. And just to have that relationship with students and being able to meet them and help them throughout the years, I've written recommendation letters. I've, gotten them internships or helped them any way that I could. It's just been a blessing, being a DJ. So that's pretty much all I know in far as the fraternity. So I definitely choose that.
Thank you, brother. Jess, will come to you next on this one.
I would say the one that the position that I've held that prepared me the best for being on the board would be when I was on the strategic planning committee. It was a really amazing group of people, and being able to really be mentored and to learn from the other people that were on that committee. It was a really positive, fulfilling, enriching experience, and I'm very glad that I did it. The other piece is that because of the nature of what we were doing, where we were looking at where are our weaknesses, what are other people doing, how do we go out and see where everybody is and then determine where to move forward. I'm in a position where I feel like I kind of understand where everybody is, but I also know how to go out into the membership at the ground level and determine, what do you need from us? What are we doing well? What are we doing poorly? Where can we grow? Where do you think we should go in the future? So I think having that perspective and having that plan already in place and knowing who I want to talk to and when I want to talk to them and how I want to talk to puts me in a really good position to, as I mentioned before, kind of be that liaison or that person who you can come to if you want to bring something to the board's attention, which I think is really the role of the at-large member.
Thank you, brother. And brother Dwayne, if you need me to repeat the question, I can, I think.
No, actually, so I think the thing that prepared me the most for is definitely being the secretary for the DEI Advisory Council. Just working, again, I mentioned working with Pega and Connie and Jonalyn and the other folks that were on the board or the council with me. They've all been in the fraternity for a while. Jonalyn and Connie are both on the IEB. I think Connie's a secretary and Jonalyn's an at-large member currently. And just working with them very much prepared me for this. I think that their experience, they're a wealth of experience. They, explained how the process worked for the flow of information going back and forth, and just kind of really worked with all of us and really advised me on a lot of things, both professionally and in the on our council itself.
Excellent. Thank you, brother. So we've spent a lot of time talking about PAD and leadership in the fraternity. And I know some of you touched on other leadership experience that you have outside of PAD, but I really want to focus this next series of questions on that other leadership experience. So tell us about any other nonprofit or board experience that you have and how that prepares you to assume this role if you're elected as an international executive board member at large. And Jess, I'm going to come to you first on this question.
Thank you, Madam IJ. I have served on the board of directors of a nonprofit before. I was a member of the NAMERL Pro-Choice Minnesota nonprofit board. We had a 501c3 board and a 501c4 board. I was on the 501c3 board. I was a member. That's basically where I cut my teeth in this sort of position and in this sort of environment where I learned this is how you do minutes, this is how you hold minutes, this is how you hold meetings. This is a lot of event planning experience and outreach experience. And then I also was briefly in charge of our super PAC for a couple of months. So I had some experience with, again, grassroots organizing, grassroots outreach, and money management.
Sorry, sometimes my mouse gets away from me. Brother Dwayne, your response, same question.
I have not had a lot of experience in the nonprofit arena. The firm that I work at now, we do a lot of nonprofit work, so I'm getting more and more experience in that. I have served on like many leadership roles in the military. I've been a squadron department head. I managed at one point over 250 people, 12 aircraft, the budget that goes along with that, training for air crew. So I'm very adept at being able to plan out long-term goals, whether that's for training or operational means, how we're going to allocate fuel resources. Again, this is from the strike fighter community that I used to be a part of. Weapons allocations to make sure everybody's meeting their various training matrices, preparing for the end all be all, which is that long-term deployment where we would go forward on the aircraft carrier and go out and do the country's bidding in that matter. So I definitely feel like I'm prepared for this. The nonprofit stuff is definitely coming just by virtue of my workflow now.
Thank you, brother. And Brother Bobby, same question to you.
I've done several things to kind of get me to this point. I would say what stands out, I'm currently on the state bar diversity committee for the state of Michigan. I was on the executive Young Lawyers Council as well. And I also serve right now as the president of Davis Dunnings Bar Association, which is a local bar association in Lansing. A lot of just so many things I've done have helped me to this moment. I've been in many leadership positions, throughout my life. Typically, when I'm involved in an organization, I end up somehow being on the executive board or some kind of leadership position. I don't plan that, trust me. But if it's something that I feel I can add to it, I will step up, if people want me to. And, if I believe I can do it, because I don't want to commit to anything that I can't do 100%. And so anything that I do, I'm going to give it everything I have. And so just being on different teams, playing sports, being the captain of certain teams, I mean, everything that I've done in my life have led me to this point. So it's hard to pinpoint one specific thing, but Those would be the things that stand out the most.
Thank you, brother. So you've all mentioned that you're involved in your communities, that you're involved, your professional obligations obviously take an amount of time. I know you all are close with your families. And so balance is going to be critical for you all if you get the opportunity to serve on the International Executive Board. So kind of walk our members through what that work, life, family pad balance might look like for you. Brother Dwayne, will come to you first on this one.
Well, I believe very much, when I was in the military, it was God, family, Navy. Still, God, family, job. My family is my priority on this earth, so I make sure that they are taken care of, and everything else is kind of secondary to that. Um, the beauty of the way my office operates, I get to work from home probably about 60 to 70% of the time. So I do get plenty of family time in that. When it comes to extracurriculars, which is essentially what this ends up being, I am judicious about what I choose to do. And again, this is something that I've felt very strongly about from the beginning. So I will definitely plan to make this a priority when it comes to the meetings. The different. I've heard there's a little bit of travel that might be involved with all this stuff. So just all of those things. My family's also used to me being gone or going away for stuff too, because again, that whole military aspect of it. So they also understand the sense of duty that comes with that. So, so long as the family's happy, everybody's good. Because we know when mama ain't happy, nobody's happy.
Thank you, brother. Brother Bobby, your response, same question.
And I concur with that, Brother Dwayne. Yeah, I can kind of say the same thing. I echo some of those sentiments as well. One of the reasons why I decided to run now as opposed to earlier is because of the time commitment that I knew it would take. And also, I have people ask me to run probably the past 8 years. People have asked me at certain times, am I going to run or should run and things of that nature. But I have to follow my own heart and know what I can commit to. But the fact that I have my own law practice, I pretty much can set my own schedule. So I know when I need to scale back. I know when I need to, grind harder. But I I love the fraternity. I'm already active in it, so I don't feel like it would be much more of a commitment than I'm already doing now. Um, so yeah, I guess I'll just leave it there.
Thank you, brother. And Brother Jess, same question.
Thank you, Madam IJ. I would echo what Brother Bobby said. I've been very involved in PAD since I joined. And one thing, I do a lot of other things. I'm very busy, but I do have a flexible work schedule. I set my own hours. I'm a hybrid employee. I work from home most days of the week. And I've always been very committed to doing a lot of different things at the same time. And what I found is that a lot of what that involves is just weighing your priorities. And when it comes to anything that's not work or family related, PAD has always been my number one priority. And actually, when it comes to my extended family, sometimes PAD outranks it, depending on how I feel. I am also very lucky. I have a very supportive husband who's also in PAD. And if I'm doing something and it means that maybe something won't get done at home or something else has to get done, he picks up the slack. I know I've been on lots of meetings with people where he comes in and hands me a homemade baked good and then leaves, and everyone looks at me very, very jealously. So he also basically, he's the man behind the woman that is the Jessica Zakin Sinkowitz volunteering machine. And he's great. And he's always there to help out and pick up any slack when anything else pops up.
Thank you, brother. So a slightly unique situation tonight because I have the opportunity to talk with 3 leaders in the fraternity who, if elected, would represent 3 new members on the International Executive Board. I remember being a new member, and I'm sure there's those of us who are on tonight and will watch later who remember prior board service in their first term on the board. So I would suggest there is a bit of a learning curve when you come from another leadership position and you take on the obligations of a board of director and the fiduciary duties that come along with that. So what steps do you plan to take to make sure that you are meeting the challenge of that learning curve? Brother Dwayne, we'll start with you on this question.
So the very first thing that I'm going to do is make sure that I know and understand the requirements of the position, right? So, the manual that we have that kind of outlines the position. If I have any questions, I'm going to start picking the brains of the folks that I know that have already done this. Whether that be, Jonathan, who I worked with for quite a while on the council, or Sister Winget, who's another Navy Bubba like myself. I'm just going to tap into the resources that are there so I can make sure that I learn and know exactly what it is I'm supposed to do. As well as if I hit any sticking points, I'll go back to the same resources so I can, flesh out what it is that I'm doing wrong, or what it is that how it is that I need to grow, and just to listen and observe the folks that are around me and get to know the other members of the board should I be elected, to make sure that I figure out their communication style, as well as not necessarily forcing my own communication style on other people.
Thank you, brother. Brother Jess, same question.
I will echo a lot of what Brother Dwayne said. I think there's sort of multiple pieces to it. The first thing is you want to make sure that you very thoroughly review all of the available materials, all of the manuals. I've also done a little bit of extra research into how to manage those fiduciary duties when you are on the board of a nonprofit, because I have done that before. The other thing is that I think, at least, for like the very initial beginning, there's a lot of observation and listening and sort of seeing how other people handle the positions. And I'm also very blessed. I have a wonderful PAD network of people who have mentored me since I was a little law student who didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing, but I think I hide it better. So there are lots of wonderful people who have been on the board before, like former International Justice Kitty Maloney, who was on the strategic planning committee with me, or Brother BJ Bailey, who is an amazing resource in all things PAD. And I know that I'd be able to go to them and look for additional guidance or assistance if anything like that were to pop up, at least as I'm cutting my teeth and getting my sea legs, so to speak.
Thank you, brother. Brother Bobby, same question to you.
Thank you, Madam IJ. I will echo some of the same sentiments as my brothers have already mentioned. Number one for me was to talk to people that I equated to being a new lawyer. When I was a new lawyer, I knew I had resources in place and people that I could speak to about running a practice, about being a lawyer, the practice of law. I like to immerse myself in everything that I do. So I've spoken to several people that have been in the position before, because I wanted to make sure before I decided to run that I was capable of doing it and I was up to the challenge. And just being resourceful, being a lawyer, we know where to find the answer if we don't have it already. And the people I looked at the attendees just now, and I know pretty much everybody here and have a good relationship and very close with most of the people that are here. So just having those people as resources, they've mentored me, like Jessica was saying. They've been huge resources for me, just being in PAD, being a DJ, or just being a member in general. And a lot of them have poured into me, and I would not be in this position and being confident that I could carry out this position without those people and their support. Their support has been overwhelming, even when I announced my candidacy. People have poured into me and really spoke, positive things to me. So I think having those people and having that support, I think I could do well. So thank you.
Thank you, brother. And this is my brain fart. Y'all excuse it. Charge it to my head, not my heart. Brother Dwayne, did you get a chance to answer this question? Okay, I thought so, but I just want to make sure before I move on to the next question. So in preparing to run for the International Executive Board, I would suggest there's a couple key documents that you need to be familiar with to hit the ground running, coming out of this biennium and just in general. And to me, those documents, ooh, let me stop the timer. Those documents would be obviously our governing documents, including our articles of incorporation, our bylaws, our fraternity policy manual, the International Executive Board Policy Manual, and then certainly having invested time resources and manpower into developing and approving a strategic plan, the strategic plan. So can you tell our membership here how familiar you are with these documents, and or what you plan to do to become more familiar with those documents as a member of the International Executive Board? And so for this one, I will come to Brother Bobby first.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm congested. Allergies. Um, I'm familiar with all those documents. It's been a while since I've read some of them, but I've seen those documents pretty much evolve in the years I've been here and being at conventions and being on different committees. I will say the strategic plan is the one that the newest one that I've been reading. And I love the fact that it focuses more on volunteerism and getting members back involved because I'm big on that, especially in my district. Trying to get members that, I meet people or meet attorneys and I tell them about Phi Alpha Delta and they're like, oh, I was a member in law school. And I'm like, no, you're still a member now. You're just an alumni member. So come on back to the fold. So trying to get them, reestablished, that has been one of the goals and challenges. But those documents, I feel I've seen them evolve and grow throughout the years, and I look forward to helping them evolve even further. But yes, I'm familiar with all of them, throughout my time here. But I will definitely be going back through them to give them a look at their current state in 2024, because some of them I have not seen in a while.
Thank you, brother. Brother Dwayne, will come to you next. How familiar are you with the governing documents and the strategic plan that was approved last August?
So like Brother Bobby, I am familiar with all the documents. I'm not as well up to speed with them as I would like to be with the more recent documents, just, that whole bar prep and baby attorney thing, trying to figure out my job. The analogy of you can only fit so many penguins on an iceberg really applies to me. As we go into this and get closer to convention, plan to spend more time pouring into that. I have spent quite a bit of time in the policy manual just by virtue of our work on the DEIAC, and I'm pretty familiar with that. But I want to get more up to speed on the strategic plan as we go forward. I do intend to read all of them and become more familiar with them.
Thank you, brother. And Brother Chess, your response, same question.
I will put my I'm very familiar with the strategic plan because I helped write a lot of it. So that one I'm probably the most familiar with out of all of them. I am very familiar with how to find the documents. I'm constantly referencing them. I think Brother Bobby can speak to this too. When you're a DJ, anytime a question pops up, that's the first place you go. So I've been working with them and reviewing them and familiarizing myself with them since I became an ADJ, a little bit beforehand, but not as much as since I was an ADJ, which started in 2016. I did also review them before announcing my candidacy, just to sort of get a rough idea if there was anything in there providing any additional guidance about elections and the process for getting on the board. So I'm familiar with them. I will definitely be referencing them and reading up on them before convention and then after convention if I am elected to the board as well.
Thank you, brother. All right, I think we've got time for probably just a few more questions. So I'm going to take a quick peek at the Q&A. That last question actually came in part from the Q&A. Let's see. So we have a question here. What is one thing you would like to accomplish as a member of the board for the upcoming biennium? Brother Dwayne will come to you first on this question.
That is a great question, Madam Justice, International Justice. I think that one of the things that I definitely want to be a part of is, continuing to empower the board and the fraternity to have a voice in the community. And what that community is, it's us, really. We have an opportunity, I think, to be very strategic in how we communicate to our membership and to the greater world. Hey, PAD Phi Alpha Delta, we are a law fraternity that serves our brothers and sisters and siblings with mentorship, with helping law students make their way through law school, with just being a voice for those that could be potentially marginalized, not necessarily getting strong into, lobbying or anything like that, but I think that we have a great opportunity to be advocates for those around us and be a voice for people.
Thank you, brother. Brother Jess, same question.
What I would like to accomplish in this biennium really lines up with the strategic plan. So the next step, so to speak, is after appointing a lot of independent leads to look into various issues that were addressed in the strategic plan, is to go out and really get input and seek input and data from everybody, basically. So whether that's focus groups or holding informal happy hour chat sessions. I want to go out and literally talk to everybody. If I could literally sit down, I don't think this is possible, but if I could literally sit down with every single member of Phi Alpha Delta to get their point of view on the state of the fraternity and where they want the fraternity to go, I would do it with gusto and with vigor and with enthusiasm. And I would really love to do it. I don't think that's possible given how big Pat is, but if I had a time turner from Harry Potter, I would do it. The goal is to make sort of a data-driven decision about where to take the fraternity forward. And that data really comes from our membership. It's about going out into the membership, meeting the membership at their level where they are and getting their input and then compiling the input and making a determination. So next 2 years, it would be all about going out and talking to people and getting everyone's perspective.
Thank you, brother. And Brother Bobby, same question to you.
Thank you, madam. I echo a lot of what Brother Jess just said because just reconnecting with people. I feel like one of the things, like I was stating in one of the earlier questions about the strategic plan that I really like is this focuses on volunteerism. And to me, that includes reconnecting with alumni members. I feel like during the pandemic, there was sort of a disconnect. I know me personally in my district, we had 3 chapters that are gone, 3 campuses of Thomas and Cooley has closed. And so there are a lot of alumni members from those chapters and they're just floating out there. So just reconnecting, I feel like there has been a disconnect somewhat with alumni members in a lot of places, and I've come across a lot of them throughout the years, and just trying to bring them back to the fold to have a specific place for them. A lot of them feel they don't have a role, and I would definitely want to make sure they know that they do have a role, and just kind of bringing those alumni members back and trying to get them to volunteer because they can pour into students. And I've invited them to events and had them come speak to students, and that's how they feel back reconnecting. A lot of them want to have those opportunities, so we just have to reach out, find them, and bring them back to the fold. So that's one thing I would definitely love to focus on.
Thank you, brother. So a couple follow-up questions. A prior IJ who may or may not be listening right now has told me on multiple occasions that if there's something you want to accomplish, you need 5 votes to get it done. So this question is in 2 parts. One, how would you build consensus to get something passed that you'd like to see move forward? And then 2, what would you do in an instance where you voted against something that the board ultimately passed? How would you handle that situation? So Brother Dwayne, will come to you first on this question.
I think the key aspect to that, Madam International Justice, is communication. If you want to get something passed, you got to start building consensus. One of the things that we're seeing, and this is where the first and last time I'll get political, but the gridlock that we see up the road from where I live in DC is that nobody wants to work together, and all they're doing is yelling at each other and arguing. I think we got a great opportunity. As long as you sit and speak to somebody, you be respectful, you listen to the ideas that everybody has, and you talk through them. Compromise if you need to make sure that the core of what you're trying to get past is what you get past, but communicate the goal and the reason why you want whatever idea that is or plan that is passed. Communicate it. Secondly, on your second question, if the board doesn't vote for it, doesn't choose to do that, then okay, so be it. The board has spoken. We are, as should we be elected, we are on a board and we have majority rules. So I'm of the opinion, okay, cool. They didn't like my idea. Time to move on. Um, and just start putting my focus to the next step, the next thing that we want to work on, and just continue to build that consensus.
Thank you, brother. Brother Bobby, same questions.
Again, I have to echo a lot of the sentiments of Brother Dwayne. I do feel, based on what the first question that was asked about our leadership styles, yeah, definitely communication. You have to listen to be a good communicator. So just active listening to know, the sentiments of your board members. Also, like you were saying, also, you have to also compromise. And I think that's a huge part as well. It's not about you. It's not about your personal feelings. It's about what's best for the group and what's best for the whole. And sometimes that goes against what you stand for in some instances or what you may disagree with in that moment. But at the end of the day, it's about what's best for the entire group. Like Brother Dwayne gave an example about politics and, things that are going on in the political climate. People have to listen to each other because sometimes you may be saying the same thing in a different way, but you have to listen first to see what's going on. And if I'm outvoted or if something goes against what I stand for, again, I'm a team player. So what's best for the whole? I have 4 daughters and a wife at home. I'm always outvoted. So I'm kind of used to that. So it won't bother me. I don't take it personally.
Thank you, brother. Brother Jess, same question.
I think the key part of consensus building is you really have to sit and listen to what everybody is saying instead of just screaming at each other. Like Brother Dwayne said, that's all that I really see in politics right now is people just want to yell. And, I always say, well, do you want to yell or do you want to actually get something done? I have never been somebody that wants to yell. I'm somebody who wants to get things done and I want to move forward and let's be concrete. And if everybody has to yell, let's yell, let's listen to each other, let's acknowledge everybody's opinions. Everybody's opinion is valid. I respect everyone in this fraternity. And let's see if we can build a consensus. If I were in a position where something that I advocated for wasn't passed by the board, then as Brother Bobby and Brother Dwayne said, okay, let's move forward. I'm not here to yell. I'm not here to talk. I'm here to get stuff done. And I respect everyone in this fraternity. And that part of that respect is saying, okay, let's move forward. Maybe I'll get my point across next time. Maybe we'll do something a little bit different. Maybe this is the best way to go. And the key thing is that we're constantly moving forward because I think if you don't move forward and if you just sort of sit and you stew because maybe your thing didn't get passed or I don't mean to get political, but I think this is what I see also up the road from where Dwayne lives. If you're just sitting and holding on to that, you're never going to get anything done. And I'm the type of person, I'm here to work, I'm here to make decisions, I'm here to move forward. I'm not here to hold a grudge.
Thank you, brothers. So for those of you who have watched me along in my biennium, which ends in 24 days, not that I'm counting or anything, you've heard me talk a lot about our core values. I've given out challenge points representative of our core values. So tonight's last question is, of our core values, with which one are you most aligned and why? Brother Jess, will come to you first on this one.
I would say professionalism is the core value that I am most aligned with because I learned how to be a professional person in PAD. My parents will always say that there's 2 sides of Jess. There's professional Jess who they would love to spend time with, and then there's the Jess that they get to spend time with that apparently they don't like. And I learned how to be professional Jess in PAD. And I'm a first generation attorney. I had no idea what I was doing when I came into law school. And PAD for me, and I think for other people who are first generation attorneys, provides you a space to grow into that professional self. And it's also a place where you can make mistakes and it's a safe place to make mistakes. I remember my first mock trial tournament. Brother Winter was my judge and I, surprise, surprise, talked for a half an hour on my direct exam and went way over. And that was a safe place to make that decision. He handled it. He just went, oh, okay, well, let's figure this out. FYI, don't do that again. This is a safe place to do that, but don't do that going forward. PAD gives you that space to find who your professional voice is, to find who you're going to be as an attorney. And no other legal organization does that. It's a very unique, very special feature of PAD that I love and am extremely grateful for.
Thank you, brother. Brother Bobby, same question. With which of our core values are you most aligned and why?
I have two, and I've touched on both
Just
of them, but
one, gotta pick one, you gotta
I
pick
know,
one.
I know, I know. Well, I would say service is the one that stands out the most just because I always say, and I've said it earlier, I always felt I was called to serve, no matter what capacity. And I empower people around me because I let them know I'm here to serve. Even my clients, I work for you. I don't talk down to you. I see people talking down to their clients and I'm like, I literally work for you. So let's work together to get this done and get the best outcome for you. So for me, it's about service. I feel like as long as we have a heart to serve, as long as we're here for service, we can get things done. Like Brother Jessica said, if you can't get along with someone, if you're here to get your point across, and be selfish, you're not going to get anything done. So we have to serve, and that's what we're here to do as a fraternity. To serve the fraternity. That's why we volunteer to be in these positions. That's the point we're making this to serve. It's not about me having a title or anything like that. This is who I am, no matter what title I have. I'm still gonna be myself, but that's my one. But diversity is also important to me, but I'm not gonna go into that because I'll be respectful. But I will say service is my one.
Thank you, brother. Brother Dwayne.
Yeah, I have to echo my brother Bobby. Service is definitely one that I identify with the most. My entire adult life has been dedicated to service to others, whether it's service to our country, service to our fellow man, and I just really feel so, I mean, strongly enough about it that my first job as an attorney was still in service to the community as a prosecutor. No longer doing that. Um, but I still consider myself in service for, the nonprofits that we work with. I do a lot of estate planning, and it is very much trying to help the people that I work for. Like Brother Bobby said, we serve our clients, and as long as I feel like I'm in service, I'm going to continue to be successful no matter what I do. And that's why I still feel the most strongly about service.
Thank you. Well, I'm very excited to hear all your responses this evening. So at this point, we're going to move into closing remarks. We are going to start in reverse order from how we began. So Brother Dwayne, you'll be up first, then Brother Bobby, and then we will conclude with Brother Jess. And as a reminder, you do have up to 3 minutes for this part. So Brother Dwayne.
Well, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I am honored and humbled to be in contention for this position as both a new attorney and a relatively new member of Phi Alpha Delta. I very much appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for, recognizing the fact that I do have some service behind me, and have a lot of value to bring to the community. I look forward to being a part of the International Executive Board and continue to help lead this organization into the future. And I very much appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Brother Bobby.
Thank you, Madam IJ. First, I apologize for this lighting. My lighting is terrible, but that's it's been annoying me throughout the night. But I'm sorry. I want to say thank you, everyone, for the opportunity. Definitely is a blessing, to be in this position, to even be considered as a board member. It's a huge honor for me, and the support that I've gotten, text messages, DMs, messages, posts. Since I announced my candidacy has been overwhelming, and it's been such a blessing, a beautiful thing, the show of fraternalism and brotherhood and sisterhood and for my siblings have been just overwhelming. So if nothing else comes of this, I've felt the love from everyone. So I appreciate that. To just have the opportunity to have my voice being heard on the international board is something I'm still trying to grasp, that I've, gotten to this position, that it could be a possibility. It's something that's huge for me. And ever since I came to my first convention in 2010, and I was embraced by so many people in the fraternity. It's something that I have aspired to do, and I didn't know when that would happen. And now, 14 years later, to be here is a beautiful thing. So I just want to bring whatever leadership qualities I have positive energy, optimism, and hard work and leadership dedication to the board. Everything that I've tried to aspire to be in my life as a whole, just who I am. I'm just trying to bring myself to the board with a heart of service and ready to serve the students, continue to serve the community and the fraternity as a whole. So thank you all.
Thank you, brother. And Brother Jess will conclude with your remarks.
I would like to echo what my brother said. I'm really honored and humbled to have been slated and to have been considered. I am a very proud first generation attorney. I'm sure you've gotten that from me over the past hour. I like to say that I'm on my mom's side, I'm the second generation off the farm. And I really do believe that without Phi Alpha Delta, I would not be where I am today. We are a very unique organization that provides you a space and an opportunity to grow into your professional self. And we're the only organization that does that, not to toot our own horn in front of a bunch of people that will do that anyway. And I'm really honored to have the opportunity to really carry that message and carry that banner, not only out to our membership, but out into the broader legal community. You guys are my chosen family. This is you're my people. And the fact that you trust me enough to put me in this position. I think like Brother Bobby said, it sounds like you and I, my first convention was in 2012. And if you would have told me in 2012 that I would be in this position, I would not have believed it. You would have completely broken my brain. I think we, going forward, have a really good opportunity with the strategic plan to really go out into our membership and shape the direction that we're going to go in the future. And I look forward to the opportunity to continue working on that.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to all of our candidates for answering the call to service and making the sacrifices that are necessary to be a part of this organization, to be a part of its leadership, and to potentially be a part of the future International Executive Board. I would encourage anyone who is watching this live or on the recording to make time to speak with these candidates and the other candidates you've heard from this week. I'm sure they have much more than they could tell you in the short time we've had here together, and I'm confident that they could answer any additional questions you might have. Thank you to those of you who showed up this evening, who asked questions that unfortunately we didn't get to. Keep those in the forefront. Ask these folks when you see them at convention. I'm sure you can reach out to folks as well before convention and get some of the answers to your questions. But ultimately, we're doing these candidate forums to provide our members with the opportunity to learn more about the candidates, what they stand for, and what they hope to accomplish. So we hope you will share these videos that will be posted on the convention landing page with those who weren't able to be with us here tonight. And then I would also be remiss if I didn't remind you of the last candidate forum, which is tomorrow evening, where you will hear from candidates for the International Tribunal. And again, that'll start at 8 p.m. Eastern time. If you didn't register yet, there's still an opportunity to do so. And with that, and only a few minutes over the top of the hour, I will bid you all good night, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Bye, everyone.